Carl Jung. Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes. We are born at a given moment, in a given place, and like vintage years of wine, we have the qualities of the year and of the season of which we are born. Astrology does not lay claim to anything more. The greatest and most important problems of life are all fundamentally insoluble. They can never be solved, but only outgrown. It all depends on how we look at things and at how they are in themselves. Through pride, we are ever deceiving ourselves, but deep down below the surface of the average conscience, a still, small voice says to us, something is out of tune. When an inner situation is not made conscious, it appears outside as fate. The most intense conflicts, if overcome, leave behind a sense of security and calm that is not easily disturbed. It is just these intense conflicts and their conflagration which are needed to produce valuable and lasting results. The pendulum of the mind alternates between sense and nonsense, not between right and wrong. In all chaos, there is a cosmos. In all disorder, a secret order. Man needs difficulties. They are necessary for health. There is no birth of consciousness without pain. Man's task is to become conscious of the contents that press upward from the unconscious. Mistakes are, after all, the foundations of truth, and if a man does not know what a thing is, it is at least an increase in knowledge if he knows what it is not. Even a happy life cannot be without a measure of darkness, and the word happy would lose its meaning if it were not balanced by sadness. It is far better to take things as they come along with patience and equanimity. Often the hands will solve a mystery that the intellect has struggled with in vain. The shoe that fits one person pinches another. There is no recipe for living that suits all cases. We cannot change anything until we accept it. Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darknesses of other people. If one does not understand a person, one tends to regard him as a fool. It is a fact that cannot be denied. The wickedness of others becomes our own wickedness because it kindles something evil in our own hearts. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Understanding does not cure evil, but it is a definite help, inasmuch as one can cope with a comprehensible darkness. If there is anything that we wish to change in the child, we should first examine it and see whether it is not something that could better be changed in ourselves. The healthy man does not torture others. Generally, it is the tortured who turn into torturers. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses. Every form of addiction is bad, no matter whether the narcotic, alcohol, morphine, or idealism. A man who has not passed through the inferno of his passions has never overcome them. The wine of youth does not always clear with advancing years. Sometimes it grows turbid. We should not pretend to understand the world only by the intellect. The judgment of the intellect is only part of the truth. Knowledge rests not upon truth alone, but upon error also. Who has fully realized that history is not contained in thick books, but lives in our very blood? Man is not a machine that can be remodeled for quite other purposes as occasion demands, in the hope that it will go on functioning as regularly as before, but in a quite different way. He carries his whole history with him. In his very structure is written the history of mankind. Nobody, as long as he moves about among the chaotic currents of life, is without trouble. Resistance to the organized mass can be effected only by the man who is as well organized in his individuality as the mass itself. Masses are always breeding grounds of psychic epidemics. Where love rules, there is no will to power, and where power predominates, there love is lacking. The one is the shadow of the other. We deem those happy who from the experience of life have learned to bear its ills without being overcome by them. Shrinking away from death is something unhealthy and abnormal, which robs the second half of life of its purpose. The word happy would lose its meaning if it were not balanced by sadness. Our heart glows, and secret unrest knows at the root of our being. Dealing with the unconscious has become a question of life for us. As far as we can discern, the sole purpose of human existence is to kindle a light in the darkness of mere being. follow that will, in that way which experience confirms to be your own. The debt we owe to the play of imagination is incalculable. The creation of something new is not accomplished by the intellect, but by the play instinct acting from inner necessity. The creative mind plays with the objects it loves. Dreams are the guiding words of the soul. Great talents are the loveliest and often the most dangerous fruits on the tree of humanity. They hang upon the most slender twigs that are easily snapped off. One looks back with appreciation to the brilliant teachers, but with gratitude to those who touched our human feelings. The curriculum is so much necessary raw material, but warmth is the vital element for the growing plant and for the soul of the child. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. The least of things with a meaning is worth more in life than the greatest of things without it.